Riaz was born into a multicultural family. His mum was from Afghanistan and his dad from Pakistan, but he was born and bred in Leicester in the 1980s. What was it like growing up in Leicester?
Tough, being one of the only Asian kids in the whole school. Me and my brother and a couple of others would get abused nearly every single day.
How did that affect you?
Well, it made me feel inferior.
So you were completely ostracised by the community. What did you do when you left school?
So when I went to college, I saw Asian gangs for the first time. Gangs of Asian youths and black youths all together. And I felt I kind of belonged to these little gangs. I used to hang around in a shopping mall called the Haymarket, and I saw a group of teenagers walk past me, led by an Afro-Caribbean guy, and they're all well dressed. Every single one of them dressed really, really cool. One of the Asian leggers, that's the baby squad, and that's the top boy there, the leader. So it wasn't about social status. It's about how you dressed and if you was one of the lads. All I could think of was about becoming a casual.
And you did become one?
Yeah.
Riaz was drawn into the subculture of the so-called football casual, a new breed of hooligan who took pride in wearing the latest designer clothes, but their sole purpose was to fight supporters of other teams. At the age of 17, he became a member of the baby squad, named that because they looked so young. They met up at the local chippy.
We'd go in here and dream about what we're going to do on Saturday, how we're going to, if we're going to ambush them or we're going to fight them, or just dream about fighting.
So not the result of the match,
no,
but the fight you were going to have?
The clash with the opposing fans. The majority of the fighting was either around the ground, near the train station or in the city centre.
The city's historic landmark, the Clock Tower, became the focal point for the local football hooligans. And what would happen here?
Once we got a few numbers together, we'd go around the streets looking for the opposing fans. It'd be like a mass brawl in the middle of a street.
Filbert Street, Leicester's ground at the time, often became a flashpoint. So this is Filbert Street?
We're actually on the ground itself.
So this is where Leicester used to play
hallowed ground.
Hallowed ground.
Look at it now. This was a beehive of trouble, this place was. You'd get fights in the ground and you get fights all around the ground.
What was the worst thing you did during your years of being involved in football violence?
We had an altercation with some group of men who were like much older than us, and I had a Stanley knife at the time, and I just lashed out all the years of hate of being called, you know, racial slurs and stuff, and this guy was saying the same things to me, you know, and I just snapped.
What was the consequence?
I was sent to jail for 12 months.
After 6 years in the baby squad, Riaz finally walked away from a life of violence and turned to another subculture, the rave scene. But drug taking led him to become insular and depressed, until one day he got a knock on the door that would change his life forever. But there obviously came a point when you did decide enough was enough.
There was a guy who used to come around my house, knock on my door and say, you know, come to the mosque. And I actually sat with him and talked to him. So he left the house and I sat there pondering. And I remember buying a Quran from Notting Hill Gate. So I picked up the Quran and I read it in 2 days and I thought, oh my God, it's been here all my life, I didn't even know.
And how did it change you?
I stopped smoking drugs. I stopped being violent. I stopped hating people. I became a better person for it.
Riaz not only found faith, but he also discovered a genuine love for football, turning his attention to the action on the pitch rather than off it. He's now a season ticket holder at the new ground of his beloved Leicester City. Time changes everything. Filbert Street is no more. We're now here. How has time changed you?
Well, since those days of being a football casual, I went to university, got myself a master's degree, I got married, got children. I teach now as a college and university. I've also written a book, I'm an author.
And why did you decide to write this book and share your story?
The reason I wrote the book was because I saw the rise of Islamic extremism and far-right extremism, and I could see it coming to a head. So I thought maybe I can help build bridges. And that book has now been turned into a play about my life.
And what's your message to those who are in need of that encouragement that you got?
If you believe in something which is positive and it's good for humanity and good for people, just go and do it. Don't hold back, because you'll regret it later in life.
Regardless of what your past?
Regardless of your past, doesn't matter. Because you can change, people change. I changed.